All right, welcome folks. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. This is going to be your Wednesday sit rep coming to you live from the great state of Texas. It is high noon Central Time on January 12th, 2022. And I am hopefully on the mend. I appreciate y'all's patience and I thank you very much for the prayers. I don't know what I had, but I don't want it again. I just know that much. And hopefully this thing will pass here pretty soon. But all right, so let's get over to the board real fast. We're going to jump in on sky glass to kick this thing off. Now, pretty active skies today. I will tell you, I was watching this over the weekend, and we've seen a definite uptick in heavy lift, meaning supply birds across the U.S. Over the past 48, 72 hours. Now, I'm not sure if this is tied to National Guard deployments or what. Typically those are state deployments, so it doesn't seem like it would be, but I have been watching that, and there's definitely been, normally you don't see a lot of activity on the weekend, and so to see it happening over this past weekend definitely caught my attention. And then last night we had a lot of H-60s up again. I think we were up to about 42. So definitely time to pay close attention to what's going on, folks. I don't know. There's an uneasiness as I watch the things that are starting to unfold. I will show you part of the reason why, and then we'll talk about that a little bit. So let's get over here. Let's kind of go through the boards. I want to show you from a tanker perspective, very heavy tanker activity. So this was about an hour ago, and it is on the uptick from there, but it's about 30-something air refuelers that are up currently across the U.S. You can see they're pretty much scattered coast to coast. Not really sure, more than likely we just got a lot of fighter activity going on, okay? Now, if we look at the heavies at the same time, this is the heavy cargo stuff. So C-17, C-130s as, again, coast to coast, okay? Not likely that these guys are getting air refueled because they've got pretty good fuel capacity to begin with, at least from a domestic U.S. perspective. So more than likely we've got a lot of fighters up again. And so it seems to be kind of the new norm. But if you just kind of look across the map here, you can see this is that's all trainers, okay? All up through here, trainer activity, but everything else, not so much, okay? This East Coast is hopping. And I'm not, like I said, now keep in mind the pinks aren't necessarily military. Those are NAs or massed aircraft, okay? But everything else is military, so quite a bit. So let's just kind of bounce through here. I'm going to look at some numbers real fast as we get into this. Let me hit a quick refresh. So we got some really accurate numbers here. But NAs currently looks like we're sitting about 22 of those up. And that, like I said, that could be skewed from non-military as well. We do have an Antonov, which I thought was an interesting coming into the U.S. Now, those not familiar with this bird, this is the largest aircraft transport in the world. The problem is they can't get parts for them, so they're kind of like one giant jalopy. But you can get a lot of stuff on them. You just can't keep them in the air. That's the biggest problem. So. But that's coming into the U.S. More than likely, that's probably a center fuselage or something along those lines coming in. But that is a Russian air transport, okay? Not uncommon, but not common, okay? So they do come in the U.S. from time to time. You usually see them out in Seattle, that kind of area. To see them come into Kansas, probably tied to Boeing. But let's kind of get down here, look at some more numbers here. Again, C-130s sitting at 25 of those, and that's just your standard. Let me see if I've got any others. Another 13 on top of that. Yeah, so our numbers pushing 40 in terms of heavy lifts. If we look at that in the C-17s, another 12. So that is your current situation. If you just look at that, those are heavy lifts. Nothing but heavy lifts. C-17s. So if we just look, you see quite a bit of activity in Southern California, a little bit here in Texas, a lot of stuff up the East Coast, all right? But, okay, for those not familiar, that's what your C-130 looks like. That's one of your heavy lifts. All right, let me back away from this for a minute because we've got a lot to cover. I do want to jump into the other apps as well. So this is what it's looking like currently. 332 military aircraft up. Again, just a lot of trainers in here. It's a beautiful day in Texas, so I'm sure in the Panhandle too. Don't have a lot of weather moving through at the moment. So let's get over here real fast, take a look at the activity from a volcanic aspect. Ash producers, we've got I think 9 right now that are popping, 8 or 9 that are pushing ash out. These are ones you kind of expect to see. That's Japan. These up here in Soviet Union are not. They kind of come and go. These are kind of regulars, all right? And so, but those are pushing ash out, quite a bit of ash. Matter of fact, you get into this, you can see the ash alerts. And what that does is basically tell pilots kind of be very cautious in this area. If they fly into that ash cloud, it can do a lot of damage to the aircraft engines and even cause them to flame out and otter down. So you don't want that to happen. So that's why those are out there. That's why we cover them, okay? All right, TFRs, let's get over here real fast. We can see we got a space operations TFR going on. Haven't seen one looking like that. Kind of like the whole coast. Kind of an interesting spin to a TFR. But these little blue boxes are power outages, kind of sporadic around and about. And then it looks like Austin, west or east of Austin, has got quite a bit of power outage as well. I don't see any weather that would really justify that, so kind of strange. Other little TFRs look to be normal. These are border TFRs, kind of a regular occurrence. And then we got this other whopper coming back into the west coast, right? More rain. So, all right, let's get over here to Flashbang's schedule and see what he's up to. Looks like he's headed to a funeral today. And nothing really, it's kind of uneventful, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. All right, let's talk planes of interest, things that have been going on around the world. We've been kind of paying attention to Europe. This one is Brio 68. As you guys may remember, that's a bird we actually figured out was a new type spycraft. And so this one has been busy. This was yesterday, rolling into Georgia. This is the Black Sea. This is Ukraine right up here. And this is Mother Russia. And so this looks like they rolled out of here and doing a lot of little loops. Very similar to the same kind of tie-ins you see from an R135 doing data captures. And so I guess they're worried about some movement over here into this general region now as well. But when they do that little snapshot, they're grabbing everything, coast to coast, side to side. So, okay, that was one. Jake 11 is another one. That was about a week ago. And this is the last time we checked in. That was bugging in. Black Sea down here, Ukraine. So they're kind of doing a quick grab of the area. And I left that up there for some reason. Don't know why. Maybe I was expecting some new traffic. But it's going to be your NATO bird. NATO 06, just want to show you, this is the UK, United Kingdom over here. This is the North Sea, and they are basically doing, that's a tower grab right there. When they start doing that tight round circle, they're not working air traffic, okay? And so if we get into this general area on the boats standpoint, that may be this general area. You can see we do have some things in here that are sitting, and so if they're coming in here and doing this grab, they may be looking for those aircraft. This right here is called it's a VTS, which is a vessel tracking thing, but it's manned. It actually has some folks that are on them. Let me see if this one will pull up a picture. There you go, so you guys can see what that platform looks like. But there are actually people parked out here on it, and they use it. This one here in particular is a gas. Not a manned VTS, but there are manned ones out there too. I just looked at it a minute ago. So, but anyway, that is, I don't know if that's related or not, but I just thought it was interesting, kind of over that same region. So, but the red boats are tankers. The green boats are going to be cargo vessels. These blue ones are other than, and then you get into, this is everything. These are probably fishing boats, etc., tugboats, things like that. So, okay, but that's where that's in general, this region, they're out looking at. If you go back over here to this, you can see in general, I kind of find it interesting that there isn't any boat traffic in here. It just seems to be a big blank spot. But okay. Let's get over to Biggs Army Airfield because I want to talk about this for a minute. Because it's going to kind of segue into all the other stuff we got to talk about. So we are seeing a lot of troop movement coming out of Biggs right now. Now, I don't know if all the bases are doing this. I haven't been able to find this much info on the other bases. But I will tell you, like this one here looks to be an Atlas Air. Could be Amazon, maybe not, but went to Washington. From there, though, it went overseas. All right, so I think these are troops. That's a camber flight, 100% troop movement. That went to Seattle. But I will tell you, they didn't stop here, okay? It's not likely they were moving troops from Biggs to somewhere within the United States. I'm just not going to broadcast where they went, okay? But these departed the U.S., both of those. This one, I'm not so sure about. That's Colorado Springs. That is an Eastern Airlines 767-200. That could have been Poppies. That one's definitely either Poppies or Bananas, headed to Alexandria, Louisiana, or sorry, inbound from Alexandria. This one, same thing. This was probably tied because this is Sun Country. It's a 737-800. Same thing. All of these right here, that's actually camber flight, and that's troops. So about half and half troop, half immigrants, it looks like, in terms of aircraft coming in and leaving. So these are the departures, and that's where they were headed, okay? All right. Now, let's give here a Swift Air real fast just to show you what's going on. Boards calmed down. It was about 2x that an hour and a half ago. Most of the flights were headed outbound, out of the country. But I just wanted to show you we've still got quite a bit of movement with Swift Air across the U.S. So they do look to be deporting a lot of folks out of the country, which kind of raises us to the next question. What are they doing with the camps? Are they still there? You know, what's kind of going on? Now, this is kind of a confirmation here. This is that World Airways flight that's actually rolled out on a regular basis. It's going out of Laredo over to Port-au-Prince. So that is definitely deporting people that are coming up and then sending them back. I would imagine any males over 18 are getting bounced, okay? So, thus, the next question. So, as we watch them start to vacate the camps, this right here is Biggs Army Airfield, all right? And you can see the camp set up there at the bottom of the picture. And it looks like 2 other locations, maybe 3 across the other side of the base. And then this one is in Tucson, all right? And that's another large camp section. I'm waiting to get back confirmation that those are still there. But my fear is that as they start to vacate these folks quietly out of the country, they're opening up these camps for you-know-who. And my guess as we go through this, I'm going to show you, kind of paint the picture. Definitely time to be paying close attention. I will say that. Okay, so this is Google Earth. These are all the camps that I've plotted. I took out all the prisons because if you counted the prisons, it was like 961 of them. A lot of these prisons are actually owned and operated by a third party, which I thought was interesting. But I did keep the detention centers because the detention centers were actually specific to immigration detention, okay? And so that's important, all right? But the reds on here, again, these are base locations where we have confirmed that they are standing up camps, all right? And so, again, this is 2x the levels of what we saw in World War II. And definitely time to be paying close attention as if they're vacating and they're leaving these things open, and you watch and listen to what's going on relative to National Guards being activated, things like that, this becomes concerning, okay? Now, we also, don't forget, I want to bring this back in because this is something we haven't talked about in a couple months, but this did not go away. You can find this over on the CDC website. Just go to cdc.gov. And then if you just look up, let me see, I'm trying to give a word here, shielding, okay? It'll pull it up. Just Google search that, CDC shielding. It'll pull it right up. This is their document. This is a PDF on file on that website. So this isn't some kind of crazy third-party thing. But what this is basically talks about containment at the household level, the neighborhood level, and then at the camp and shelter level, okay? So that is why we got to pay attention. The CDC's already been talking about it. This was It's still out there, and I will tell you, when I read this, there is no exit strategy on here. It seems to be you go in like Hotel California, but you don't check out. So, all right. So brings me to the next thing, okay? Because as you start to look at all these different pieces of the puzzle bubble together, this is why it starts to get a little concerning. Now, I did see somebody saying there was like 31 states that have activated or actually put their National Guard on alert. I pulled the thread on the ones here in Texas because I have friends that are in the National Guard. And I will tell you that the Texas National Guard is nothing new. It was activated for the border, and they have not been given any new work instructions per se so far, okay? But there are other states that are doing it. For example, Massachusetts is now adding guard. Now, these are all tied to healthcare, okay? That's why it brings you back to the CDC thing, okay? But California's doing it, Boston's doing it. You can just kind of go through and start looking at them. There are certainly coming online. Maryland, Washington State, quite a few things going on now. You guys probably just saw the recent article that put out. It's a bill that was proposed in Washington State that allows them to basically come in and take you and put you into one of these camp locations at their discretion, okay? So definitely concerning. Like I said, this all looks to be tied to the health side of the house, okay? In terms of these activations. So pay close attention. Like I said, just a data point right now, but we don't want to be caught off guard, okay? All right, now, let's get over to Guantanamo Bay real fast. I just want to point out, I do think we have some human trafficking trials going on down there. And I say that because we've had quite a bit of traffic. This one bumped in from DC. It actually is going back to DC. It looks like it's coming down for a special pickup, and then it's going to roll back out. Let's see here. I think that's today. But we get over to the arrival board. You can see it's been pretty busy. For a time when we don't have any trials going on, all these are canceled for the month. That sure is very active. Very active. A lot of United Airlines flights coming in, Sun Country. Now, some of these are regular flights, but that one, for example, at a joint base, that is not a regular flight. That could be troop rotation, maybe. Let's see. This one is a regular Tuesday, Friday flight. This one is a Wednesday special flight. Don't have anything on it. That's Base Commander at Gitmo. But you can see it's a pretty active board, which would indicate there's a lot of things going on. Either we've got a troop replen, which we know they usually do that around this time of year, or we also have some folks coming in. Typically these smaller birds, this one here coming out of DC is probably some congressional knothead that is coming down to get eyes on the operation more than likely, and then go back and report. So that's probably what that one is. Okay. All right. That's regular Tuesday, Friday is probably contractor work. All right. You probably have somebody that's overseeing. If you remember, Flashbang was actually going to spend about $15 million building a couple more classified spaces for court hearings. And that's more than likely what that's tied to. All right. Okay, so we looked at the board. As you see, nothing really going on. All right. Now, this is one of the Phoenix Airs. We've been watching this. Of course, the one that just bubbled into Guantanamo Bay was a Phoenix Air. These guys are agency birds. Looks like this one rolled out of Greece and went back to Stuttgart, Germany. We watched this one because, if you remember, this is the guy that keeps popping down here into Africa, okay? That's why we pay close attention. It seems like every time they go down there, something new pops up here, right? Whether it's a different type of virus, whether it's Ebola going on, whether it's monkeypox, whatever it may be. Every time these guys roll in here, I do believe this, from an agency perspective, is probably CDC. But yeah, they frequent Africa quite a bit. All right. Now let's get over here to this knothead. This is Secretary of Homeland Defense. Or Homeland Security, sorry. C-202. Looks like he was in Columbus, Ohio. Went back to DC. That's pretty much all he's done this week. Looks like he rolled out of the Brown Zone, went over there and back. Don't know what's going on in Ohio, but watch the news. I'm sure something will come up here shortly. That also could be tied to the immigration side. So they may be ramping up for something up there. So. All right, now the other one, this is our sniffer. It looks like it is back active today. As you guys can see, landed 1 hour, 6 minutes ago. Again, that is not Joe Biden. Sorry, flashbang Biden. This is the helo that actually sniffs the air for any kind of biological, chemical, or nuclear weapons. And so it is tied to the Department of Energy. Super highly sensitive devices mounted to a helicopter, and they basically fly through the air and basically just capture everything. But you can see they're running a pretty good little grid right here. Looks like that is an area of concern. Again, waterways. Talked about that in the past. As you notice, you come in off the Atlantic, you get into this waterway. If you look closely, that bad dude will run you straight up to the back door. That rolls you right into DC, right up to the White House in some instances, like this one, for example, here. But yeah, this is, and same here, right? Roll you right into the backside. You set off a dirty bomb in this area, and the jet stream is going to carry it right across the Metroplex on up the East Coast. All right, so pretty bad scenario. Kind of think of sum of all fears, right? And so, but yeah, that looks like that is our latest area of interest right there. And so, and then that was today, and then this was yesterday. Let's see if they had anything. Same, all right. Looks like they were doing kind of the same general area. Another search grid. You can see this right here. The yellow line is going to be airspeed. Green line is altitude. So that bad dude only spiked up a couple times. He was pretty doggone low throughout the rest of it. All right. Okay. Sorry if I'm drinking between, because I feel like I'm about to start coughing, and if I start, I know I will not stop. So, okay, this is going to be just a sat flare. I wanted to just start bringing this up because I thought it was interesting. This is actually your next inbound satellite that is supposed to be burning up. So this one looks like it's out near Hawaii. This is Hano right here, and that's the orbit. All right, and so the 15th is when it's due in. But Starlink, all right, it's tied to broadband. And here's a little info on it from NASA. Man, please don't let me start coughing. All right, so SpaceX, there it is, low orbit, and it looks like it's coming back down. All right, last thing up, we were talking, somebody had sent me some information yesterday. They said, why were all the airplanes grounded on the western U.S. side? Excuse me. And evidently it's because North Korea tested a missile. And so that would indicate when they start grounding aircraft because somebody's getting ready to launch a missile, it's because they don't want to shoot down their own aircraft by mistake. That would indicate that we probably have some type of missile defense system on the West Coast, whether they're THAADs or MEADS or something along those lines. And that's just a precautionary thing. They probably just dropped these down for a few minutes to make sure it didn't come our way. So, okay. I'm going to end it right here just because I know it's a little bit early, but I'm about to start a coughing fit here in just a second. I can feel it. And so we'll go ahead and wrap up. I will be back on Friday, God willing, and we'll take a look at the skies again, but just start paying attention to the news and your regional stuff going on around you. Because this could get very interesting very quickly if it continues to go the way I think it's going to go. So, all right, folks, listen, be safe out there. Keep your powder dry. God bless. Monkey out.
Check out the latest gear and products at monkeywerxus.com.